Canada's health minister Friday announced the government is ready to begin what it's calling an early phase patient trial of an experimental treatment for MS, or multiple sclerosis. Health Minister Leona Glukak is referring to the so-called liberation treatment, a procedure where balloon angioplasty is used to clear the blood vessels in an MS patient's neck. It's a procedure that's shown to, well, improve symptoms. Nova Scotian Chris Alkenbrock underwent the surgery over a year ago and has been a vocal proponent of the procedure, and he joins us on the phone this evening. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how you doing, Rick?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Well, what do you know about this early phase patient trial for this this treatment? They're actually going to, in Canada, I guess, use humans as for sake of a better term, guinea pigs?
Well, I don't like the word guinea pig.
Well, neither do I, but you know what?
As an MS patient, I've been used as a guinea pig for the last 20 years, so I suppose it's not that bad.
Yeah, but is that indeed the case, that now there'll be actual trials on Canadians in Canada?
Yes. I think we need to start back from the beginning, though. Phase 1 trial. What are they looking at, and what are they doing in a Phase 1 trial? Now, the information I'm going to give you comes from the MS Society of Canada website.
All right, tell us.
A Phase 1 trial, we're looking at about 20 to 80 patients. And if we look at the timeline, Rick, okay, they're going to call for proposals as of November 30th. They have until March 2012 to submit their proposals, and then after that they'll get a committee together that will study the proposals, and then after that they'll set up the timeline for Phase 1. What does Phase 1 look at? A Phase 1 trial is only looking at to see if a procedure is safe. We already know it's safe. There was a study already published in the Journal of Vascular and Interventional Radiology. In fact, I got this abstract dated November 14th, 2011, and it's called The Safety of Endovascular Treatment of Chronic Cerebrospinal Venous Insufficiency, a report of 240 patients with multiple sclerosis. And the conclusion is that it's safe. There is a 1.6% risk of major complication.
And I'm sure there's much higher risk in other surgeries, isn't there?
Well, exactly. I mean, Rick, 400 people, we know this from the, I forget the name of the group, but anyway, the Tim Donovan group that did the Cross Canada tour.
Yep.
We know that 400 people a year in Canada die from MS, okay? So while they're busy pussyfooting around with Phase 1 trials, okay, well, people are going to be dying. There's one every day that dies of MS in Canada.
Well, why do you think they're dragging their feet on this then?
Well, I think that okay, I'm on the air. I don't care. I think that a few neurologists in Canada have got their nose bent out of shape with all of this. And you know, another thing too, Rick, I believe it's a systematic discrimination against MS patients. I truly believe that. And I challenge you, Rick, name one other day surgery procedure, because this is a day surgery procedure, okay? It takes an hour and a half at most, okay? Name one other day surgery procedure in Canada that has made it through, that had to undergo such scrutiny and clinical trials that could last up to 10 years.
I'm not aware of any.
No, of course, it doesn't exist. You know,
and you have described it or compared it to basic, you know, to a procedure that's currently done on a daily basis in hospitals right across the country, and that is angioplasty on a heart patient.
Absolutely. And if angioplasty is not safe, then I think we should stop doing it on all patients all across Canada, no matter what their condition, because angioplasty is safe. Now, part of the controversy in all of this is the placement of stents in the jugular veins. Okay, yeah. I can understand that, you know, and I don't think we should be doing that at this stage of the game.
So not everybody,
that has to be looked at.
Not everybody that gets this procedure gets a stent put in their neck.
No. In fact, from the beginning of 2010 to now, there are very few stents actually being put in. People go and they get just regular balloon angioplasty. Most of the clinics worldwide have backed off using stents in the jugular veins especially.
Well, and we know that at least the two cases where death resulted, it's because of complications with the stent, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not the procedure, the stent.
Yeah.
And the follow-up treatment.
Pardon me?
And the lack of follow-up treatment that was available to them.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they were refused follow-up treatment in Canada. But if you don't mind me changing the subject, it's all on the same subject, and it's a very important piece of legislation that will be discussed in Parliament this Wednesday, and it's a national strategy for chronic cerebral spinal venous insufficiency treatment, and Kirsty Duncan from Etobicoke, an MP from Etobicoke. She's actually a medical geographer. She's got a training in medicine. She's proposing Bill C-280 in the House of Commons for debate. And one thing that differentiates her proposal from what the CIHR, the Canadian Institute of Health Research, has already agreed on is the committee of experts with the Canadian Institutes of Health Research. Okay, I wrote this out here because I didn't want to make a mistake. Not one expert on this committee has ever been involved in CCSVI research. It reeks of bias from neurologists who have been outspoken against this procedure since day one. Kirsty's bill, Dr. Duncan's bill, C-280, it actually wants to get the real experts in there doing the work, because we do have some Canadian experts who have been attending the symposiums who've actually performed the procedure in Canada before they were stopped by their hospitals and so forth.
Wow. Well, at the least here, there's some progress is being made. Perhaps, obviously, not as fast as you and many others would like, but they are taking small steps in the right direction. But let me ask you before we go, Chris, it's been over a year for you, hasn't it?
It's been, a year and a half, Rick.
Yeah. And how are you doing?
I'm still doing much better. In fact, I just saw my doctor today, and, there are certain things that are coming back, a little bit more fatigue and things like that. But still, all in all, she sees and has documented benefit of this procedure for me. And she has also stated today that she was very glad that I did not get a stent put in my jugular vein, because that seems to be the cause of complications when there are any. Well,
your anecdotal experience after the procedure seems to echo what a lot of MS patients who have gone abroad to get the procedure done. It's given them a new lease on life. It's made them, and no offense intended, it's made them feel normal again for the most part. And I hear your frustration with the slowness in government, but sometimes government moves real slow, Chris, and they seem to be doing just that in this case.
Yeah, I just hope that if they're going to hold this to doing 3 phases of clinical trials and take a decade, okay, they're going to have to do it for other procedures. And it's never been done for other procedures in Canada, so let's stop the discrimination against MS patients, move forward. Let's do clinical phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials as soon as possible.
Well said. Thank you, Chris Alkenbrock. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Take care. Chris Alkenbrock, a Nova Scotian, lives in the Annapolis Valley, who a year and a half ago, as he just told us, underwent the procedure. He went to Poland for the procedure. Cost him around $15,000 altogether with the travel costs and the cost of the procedure. And that's money he had to spend on his own. It came out of his own pocket. No contribution from the government. And as Chris said, if this thing goes on for another 10 years as well, how many MS patients who might have led a normal life with the procedure might end up dying because the government dragging its feet on this particular procedure.